Greetings, Legionnaires, and welcome to another episode of the Critical Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jimmy Good, and joining me, as always, is my fellow general, Joe. Joe, question for you. If I were to say the phrase, welcome to the jungle, what would you say?
We got fun and games.
We got everything you want. You know the names.
We know all the names.
Yes.
We are the people you may find wherever you can.
You may need. If you got the money, honey, we got your disease. Anyway.
Yeah. Coincidentally, that's my ringtone on my phone.
Excellent. Good. That's a good thing. I know a lot of people are like, wait a second. I didn't know this was going to be a Guns N' Roses podcast. Well, it's not. Don't worry about
Surprise!
That. Surprise. Yeah. No, we talk movies, games, TV shows, all the things we love the most in this world and the things that we just can't stop thinking about. So to anybody who is joining us.
Talk about.
Oh.
How to enjoy a nice, cold, crisp, refreshing Canada Dry.
I really got to talk to that PR department. Anyway, thank you for anybody joining us for the very first time. And thank you to all the Legionnaires who are checking us out again. And I've been supportive all this time. But anyway, let's get right into it with a little bit of news. First off, something kind of funny. We talked about Far Cry 5 last week, Joe. Remember, it was like Montana and, all the hubbub around it. Well, now there is a petition out there to get it canceled. I can't tell if this one is legitimate or not, but I didn't really want to talk about the petition itself. I kind of want to talk about just the uproar a little bit that this game is going to cause and going to cause coming down the line here. It's coming out in February of next year, so it's going to be a while, and I'm sure it'll be talked about on many a news outlet. But I just want to know, we talked about it last week, just the style of it, but have you thought any more about this game? Are you interested at all? Apparently it's got a co-op campaign, so like you and I could go on four-wheelers through Montana together for the whole thing, which I think that'd be fun. Like I would love it. So I don't know.
Okay, so you just defined it right there. Yeah, I'm interested. Co-op, let's go, Wild West lasso some people and drag them right down the center street.
I don't know if I think it's a little more modern. I don't know. You can throw pitchforks.
Is it modern? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's throwing pitchforks at people. You can have dog companions apparently, which is pretty cool. I just want to know if the setting, does that bother you at all, Joe? As an American from the Midwest, does this kind of game bother you?
No, I think it's attractive to the people like us who live in the Midwest, huh?
Sure, yeah, I think so. I don't know, I'm not against it.
What's wrong with the mountains, the terrain and everything? I mean, they had it in the jungle once, which has been done a million times for a lot of games.
It's been done more than once, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, so what's wrong with doing a mountainous, Rocky Mountain northern setting? I think it could be cool, right?
Well, it's most of it from like a political and religious standpoint because it's kind of a super kind of crazy type of cults and stuff like that, and trying to kind of bring about some issues that America might be having with its like geopolitical, all this stuff, and trying to stir the pot, as it were. Because for me, I don't know, it doesn't really like offend me when I look at this game. I love the setting, but it doesn't matter. Like if this is a story that wants to be told, I think games have the ability to tell that in a way that movies or books don't really have the capacity to. So
sure,
I don't know. I'm not offended by it.
That's interesting. You say the premise for the setting and why it's there, that whole thing. A year or so ago, or just this February, December, something like that, there was some news story near where I went skiing in Montana this past winter. Something about some cult guy. He was all over the news for a little bit there. Wonder if there's any connection. Maybe a little bit based on real life sort of a deal.
I'm sure that they took some of these ideas, and I'm sure some of the quests will be kind of based on maybe even ripped from the headlines type of thing. Yeah. But I don't know.
Well, but anywho, I'm interested. I think a setting like that is kind of fresh, something a little original. I mean, we haven't really seen that used before in a lot of games. Most of our games are based in like jungle settings or cityscapes, or I don't know. Hence why Red Dead Redemption, a game that I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but Wild West style, that's appealing. It's not done often, right?
Yeah, well, not to the same effect as like a AAA type of thing.
Sure. So I think Uncharted's in the right here. I think they're making a good call with a new setting for their game. I think it's kind of cool.
You meant Far Cry, right?
Far Cry, sorry. What did I say?
Uncharted. It'd be great if Nathan Drake was taking down some cultists in Montana. He's like, I know there's treasure here, all right? Like I don't trust you guys when I'm here for the treasure.
Yeah, but anywho, speaking from personal experience and having been to Montana skiing in the mountains and stuff, it's amazing. The terrain, the scenery, the towns, etc. Just amazing. So I hope there's some accuracy to it too. So I'm kind of excited for that. I think that personal connection helps a little bit, but the main thing is the co-op mode.
Yeah, that'll be sweet. Well, I just heard that they said that you could play the entire campaign co-op, which is something that the old games have not let you do. Far Cry 4, I'm not sure about Primal, I should say, but Far Cry 4 was kind of, you and I could do side missions, we could take outposts together, but you'd have your separate campaign from mine, and that wasn't really cool because it'd be like the coolest missions are in the campaign. It's like, oh man, if I had a buddy, like sniping over here, it'd be a lot more fun. So, sure. Yeah, I don't know how people are really going to react to this. Seeing more of it, I think, is going to help. But it sounds like from the team, they want to be able to provide not only a fun experience for people, but maybe some characters and stuff that might be kind of crazy, both to the left or to the right or whatever. And it doesn't really, it's not like, oh, this is the right way to do this or the wrong way to do this, and kind of give you the option to kind of see different perspectives. I don't know if there's going to be gameplay choices of like side with this guy or side with this woman or whatever. But sure. Yeah, I'm excited about it just because I do like Far Cry games. I didn't get into Primal just because I thought it was an interesting choice, but I was like, I kind of like my Far Cries to be explosive, and I'm on like a little helicopter blowing stuff up and all that jazz. So yeah, we'll see how it does. We're gonna get a lot more in the future. I want to just see a lot of gameplay though. That's the next thing we got to see, Joe. Then we can dissect it even more.
Yeah, so more information to come and more analytics to follow that. So.
And speaking of Ubisoft, they just had a leak of like a 40-second clip that someone had taken like a cam of in a movie theater or something like that where they were playing this, but they showed off a little bit of Assassin's Creed Origins, and they did confirm it that it was going to be in Egypt, it looks like. So it sounds like maybe Nolan North is in it as well, the voice of Nathan Drake. You were just talking about him, but a very small news story. Don't really have to talk about it too much, but just want to say that that is definitely coming. So hopefully Ubisoft opens their press conference for E3 with this instead of like saving it for the end. And it's like, we all know it's coming. Like they're like, it's Assassin's Creed. And we're like, yeah, we knew, like we weren't really surprised by that, but.
Well, Egypt, that's a cool setting as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who didn't love that history subject in school, huh?
Yeah, and it sounds like it's a little more broad than what we think, because when I think of the term ancient Egypt, I think of just like, oh, like the pyramids are being built or are just finished, but maybe this is ancient Egypt where the pyramids are already built and it's like a little more advanced. I don't know. So, and plus they could do a lot of fun stuff with the whole forerunners or whatever the first civilization might have come there, these like alien people who were before us in the Assassin's Creed mythos. We'll see. They'll probably play into that. Just like, I don't know if I like that. It's weird to think an assassin game can be so sci-fi, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're gonna get a lot of gameplay, Joe. E3 is gonna come, but a little more news here, pal. Looks like Blizzard is teasing some stuff.
Say what?
You know, Blizzard, they love to tease stuff, especially here for Overwatch. We're looking at a map here. I'll probably try to link it down below, but it's showing this Horizon lunar colony. The place where Winston actually came from, the big gorilla who has got the Tesla cannon. And you can kind of look at all this stuff. It's showing like a map, like a blueprint of a map right now. And it says like all these specimens, they're tracking various ones. And then there are 2 that are not found. Specimen 2B, I believe, or 28, maybe that's what it is instead of 2B, is Winston. And then specimen 8 is Hammond. And they've lost Hammond. So the question here is, Joe, what do you think? Are they teasing the map, a new character, maybe both?
Both, for sure. You know, they're teasing the observatory. And, you know, there's different ways to take this, and it really helps if when you're listening, you do check out this link to the photo that Jimmy referenced. You know, they have on the left specimen status, and they have tracking specimen 9, 10, 15, 20, 23, 24, 26. All of them have a name: Simon, Dyson, Calvin, Susan, Hypatia, Marie, Ellie. Then you have not found specimen 8 Hammond, specimen 28 Winston. So we know Winston, obviously, the closer, as we like to refer to him. Mm-hmm. But then to the right, you know, they have tracking. They have a little node, and they have all these little nodes showing the location of these characters. They also show a location of scientists. So there's like, let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 scientists on the board, and then you got all these specimens that they are tracking. But then you have an area of this map, the lunar colony, area E, where the specimens not found were last tracked, I guess is what it probably signifies, highlighted in orange. So part of me is wondering, is this a point take or capture the point type of deal? Like, trying to think of a good example of a map, Jimmy.
Well, one that would come to mind, maybe the new Oasis map.
Oasis, yeah, similar to that. It's either that, because they're showing like points A, B, C, D, E, F. So they got a bunch of them. I wonder if it's a new style of gameplay, possibly, or maybe they're showing. Maybe the section E is a map in itself, and the other sections are maps. I don't know.
Well, could be.
It's kind of left up to debate, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think they're teasing a bit of both for sure. Horizon Lunar Colony, the map, and then new character Hammond. So the thing that really sparks my interest, Jimmy, is the specimens that they are tracking. 9, 10, 15, 20, all those. Will we ever see those? Huh?
I don't know if we will. The reason why is the backstory here is that on the Horizon Lunar Colony where Winston was, they were testing some experiments out on gorillas, and gorillas ended up taking over and like overthrowing the scientists. So I'm wondering if a lot of these other ones would just be gorillas. And the reason Hammond stands out is because they talk about, apparently, like in this little news blast here, that this was a smaller individual. This is a smaller test subject. Like why? And then like something like one of the scientists like, I don't know why we decided to, or I don't know why we ever thought it was a good idea to have smaller test subjects. I completely regret it. So I'm wondering if that's going to be like a smaller gorilla, maybe a monkey, maybe I don't even know what, maybe
Chimpanzee,
a velociraptor with a jetpack. Yeah, it's named Hammond, John Hammond. Come on, it's so easy. Oh, a velociraptor.
Yeah, it was made.
Wouldn't it be beautiful? Yeah, I would love that so much. Or my crocodile ideal is floating in a bubble. He's kind of big though. Or maybe the land shark. He'd be a little bit smaller. I don't know.
It's for sure a raptor.
It's got to be at this point. It has to be.
Every time it kills me, I'm going, clever girl.
Well, yeah, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be a monkey or a gorilla, like a smaller one or something like that.
Yeah, I'm thinking monkey for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So,
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. We don't really know what else to go off of on this point.
Well, class?
Class? Oh, good question, Joe.
Oh. Support.
So we've had Orisa, Sombra, and Ana come out the last 3 ones. So we have, your tank, your offense, and your support. So I'm thinking, and I've talked to you about this, Joe. We were playing Overwatch today. I said I'd really like if they made another defense character. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see them put more into that. I think they're going to take a break from offense, or at least I think they should, because that's the class that's just like the most full right now.
Yeah.
So
defense
hopefully
has
that's
quite a few to choose from, and then with Orisa added, the tanks aren't lacking as much. I feel like support lacks choice, or I feel like people want a support that's more engaging. Like, don't get me wrong, Mercy's great, but do you really feel like you accomplished a lot at the end of the match? I mean, yeah, if you kept everybody in it and winning, that's great, but you don't feel like, yeah, did you see me slay the whole group of them there with that ult? There's no feeling like that. And I feel like people would like a support character that's more engaging and more interactive with the other players. I don't know.
Well, she's got that clutch revive. If you get one of those, you got to feel good because like you res the whole team and you're like, I just brought the team back.
Sure, but I just don't feel that impact of like I just slaughtered 3 of them.
Well, you're not supposed to. Her name's Mercy, Joe. She's not supposed to be slaughtering people. She's Joe's like, I don't like the support class very much. It doesn't kill as much as I thought it would. It's like,
well, unfortunately, that's my dumbass thought.
I always tell you, I'm like, you don't like playing support, and this is the reason why, because you don't feel like you're killing a lot with them, but you're not supposed to be.
Hence why I tend to like Zenyatta. I don't play him a lot. I always go Mercy for the effectiveness.
Yeah, she's very effective, that's for sure.
Lucio I used to have fun with, but I just don't feel like I'm as effective with him. I mean, yeah, I can shoot, and I can shoot at distance, but I just don't feel like I'm doing enough healing for the team. You know, it's not constant enough. Where Mercy, you can just constantly switch from person to person. The one thing about Mercy, I wish she didn't have to switch to her gun. Like,
Sure.
I really feel like she would be much more. Like, I would play her a lot. If nobody's picking healer, I'm like, all right, I'll go Mercy for sure. If I could just like do an alternate fire with the right trigger, like instead to make her other controls different triggers, and then her weapon is the staff, and she just points and shoots.
Sure.
Like, it would make her much more usable, I think. Even if it's not as powerful, like her little pea shooter is pretty powerful if you use it right.
Yeah, that's true. It is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder. I mean, it could be, they haven't covered the defense role. You would think logic would tell you it's going to be a defensive character, but could it be a support just because supports are important and people don't play them as much as they should?
Yeah,
it's possible. Maybe they're looking at that aspect.
I think another thing they should really consider as they go on is that the recent changes to Symmetra make her feel like a defense pick. Makes her feel like she belongs in that tree as opposed to being in the support class, because she doesn't do the shields anymore like to everybody, only when she uses her ultimate ability, and the turrets and everything make her feel like she belongs in that class. So if they were to ever move her, I would say then the support people would say like, oh, we don't really have as much support anymore, even though they don't really right now. So there's a good chance, I think, maybe that it could also be a support. I think it's one of those two, support or defense. They wouldn't do another tank. They probably won't do another offense for a while, if they want to kind of keep everything on average. But maybe they don't. Maybe they want 10 offense people. So it's like moving through games a little more efficiently. I don't know. So
yeah, a problem with players these days or in general, people in our generation. We want that instant gratification and everything. And I can't help but think, man, wouldn't it be awesome if they just release a character in each class every time?
Yeah, sure.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 in a few months. 1, 2, 3, 4 in a few months. They get through them too quickly, right? The longevity of the game would kind of drop just a little bit, but
sure. And the meta would shift so hard.
The thing is the draw to play would be so much higher, I think. Like, there's always that incentive of, oh, they just came out with 4 new characters. I got to play them all a little bit, I don't know. But, or maybe even like half that, 2 at a time or something.
Well, maybe
I think it could really amp it up, but
yeah, the only problem with that is I think they want to make the game not feel like crazy, like too crazy and messed up, because they did it like that. Evolve kind of did it that way, and obviously Evolve wasn't as popular, but they kind of put out their 4 or whatever. You'd be like, oh, cool, these like all the new people, I get to try them out. But then after like a few weeks, or even like 2 weeks, you'd be like, yeah, I played everybody. With this, it's like when they add one new character, you're like, wow, this might change a lot, or they might make them really good or really bad, and they'll add a new map. It's like, oh, this is a cool new place. Because if you add too much, I wonder if it would burn out. People would be like, man, there's like 4 new, I can't keep up with this game. It's like they keep adding, like, they had 16 characters a year. It's like, it's too much. But I see what you mean, man. I wish they would do that. I just wish they would put more on like support. I just wish they had even cooler supports. I love the sports they have now, but I would love if they just like really fleshed out that tree and made it attractive to people, because in a lot of fights that Joe and I or like skirmishes that we get into, or as payloads and everything, point takes, there is so often both a Widowmaker and a Hanzo. Everybody wants to be a sniper. I don't think Blizzard's going to make another sniper for a long time, or at least I hope they don't, because
it is definitely a reoccurring problem. Like, every freaking time you get both of them, it's like, what are you guys doing? Granted, if you're a really good Hanzo, you can really contribute.
Yeah, no, it's very true.
Sometimes maybe our anger isn't warranted, but if the team's doing poorly, you tend to look right at them immediately, because they're not getting like the 5 kill streak or the 6 kill streak. You know that they're just taking a shot once or twice and maybe killing one person then dying. You know what I mean? Or just injuring somebody and dying. It's tough. Our frustrations aren't always warranted, but for example, I played Hanzo on defense at the Egyptian map, and man, I was just reining them in. I was just like, oh, there's one, poof, 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 just. It was fun, and I was really taking them out. But if I started to notice that Hanzo just was not getting it done and we were in trouble, I would have been switching right away to a more comparable hero.
Yeah.
Something to get the job done, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I want to have fun, but I also want part of the fun is doing well, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, for sure. Well, I think the problem too is with specifically Hanzo and not so much Widowmaker is that he doesn't really have a move besides his sonar arrow that helps support the team. Like Widowmaker's ultimate ability is all about helping herself and the rest of the team see everybody else. You play soldier, he's got to heal. You know, some of these other characters have things that supplement or kind of help out everyone else and is more of a team player type of character. When you have like your Widowmaker standing way in the back on a payload and she's not pushing the payload up and she's just sitting there trying to get kills and she's not killing anybody, it does get aggravating because you're like, but there's two snipers, you know, they'll pick both Hanzo and Widowmaker will be in the same match. It's not just like, oh, we have our one sniper. It's like, no, we have two. And there might be an Ana in there too. And you're like, guys, like, like Ana's not, you know, she's a healer too, but she's trying to get kills. And you're like,
people.
It's like, come on, please. I get that you don't want to engage the team and you want to get kills and you don't want to die. I do too, but you know, I picked D.Va, man. I got to get in there, do some work. One of my favorite things about this game is using abilities like, you know, D.Va's defense matrix to eat up a move, like eat up Reaper's ultimate and save the entire team from something like that, or Pharah's ultimate. Just like, oh, like, you know, I'm going to save these two people. Like, that's so much fun. So just make attractive supports. Just that's the biggest thing that they could do. And if this new monkey, gorilla, whatever the heck it is, Velociraptor medic is great, I hope it's a medic. I hope it's a support. That's all I'm trying to say. So, but either way, it'll be good because it's Blizzard. So even though Sombra, I would say, Joe, and maybe Orisa a little bit too, not that they're lackluster, but I remember the build up to Sombra was huge. Like people were like, oh my gosh, Sombra's coming. But I don't see a ton of Sombra. Maybe that she's more PC. I don't know, Joe, what do you think? Have you seen a lot of Sombra lately?
You know, I haven't, and I'll be honest, I try to play her once in a while, and I just don't feel like I'm getting the job done.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's something with her bullet spray. I just can't concentrate it finite enough, and it's not doing enough damage. I don't know. I think she's a valid choice in a match. I just maybe there's something I'm doing wrong. I mean, I do like the aspect that I can hack all the health packs I want and really kind of hinder the other team, but I also want to be doing stuff that's gonna, you know, decrease the onslaught of enemy players, right? But
yeah, she's kind of a weird character, kind of like
Symmetra. In a way, you are.
Yeah, I don't know if she's kind of like put her as offense, but sometimes I feel like she is kind of more defensive, or you know, she's healing everybody all the time. It's like she can get higher healing stats than some other healers because she's you know hacking those health packs, and you're like, wow, she actually healed the team for quite a lot. You're like, okay,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, and Orisa, I don't know. I haven't seen too much of her either. They're both cool characters. I'm just interested to see where they go now, you know, moving forward. But again, hoping for more supports. What can I say? Let's hope. Anyway, Joe, that does it for
too. They can be fun.
Yeah, that does it for news this week. And now we get to move into the big segment of the show, which is talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. So what Joe and I are going to do, as always, we're going to talk a little bit about the film, spoiler free at first, and then we will go like spoilers, or some will pop up, and then you can see that we are talking about stuff. So if you haven't seen the film yet and you're planning on it, you can stick with us. We're not gonna divulge too much of anything, but then we're gonna get to a point and then we'll let you know. So, Joe, what was the story here of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales? Can you give me a brief synopsis?
What was the story here? Jimmy, you know I'm bad at the brief synopsis. What was the story? So, without spoilers.
I like to do these. It's a good game. It's a good brain teaser. It's not really that hard. It's the same one as all the other ones. Cursed crew is coming to kill Jack. That's all you gotta say. It's just a cursed crew.
Yeah. It's all about curses. Cursed crew coming to kill Jack. Obviously, we know Salazar, the Spanish. What do you want to call him? Pirate exterminator.
Oh, sure. Which, by the way, side note, Joe, that was called Pirates of the Caribbean: Salazar's Revenge overseas, I believe, which is a pretty cool title. I think. I don't know. I like it.
Not bad. Yeah. You know, obviously it's all about his revenge, like you said. So Jack, back when he was a young lad, under first mate of some pirate or whatever, he basically foiled Salazar's takeover of the seas to rid the seas of pirates. So, which led to his death and his curse. So, wants revenge on Jack, yada yada. Yeah, I mean, a little bit. This movie's formulaic, but it's kind of the bread and butter. It's what makes it popular. Like, they find Jack in an unassuming spot, like you wouldn't expect. And he's kind of in a rough position. You can't take him too seriously as a pirate, which could you ever, I guess. It's always just haphazard luck. Like he's I don't know that there's ever any thought in any of it. He just kind of gets away with stuff.
He thinks it through once in a while. But, like in On Stranger Tides, he plans a whole escape thing. It's very strange, but yeah. Anyway.
Sure, yeah, he doesn't often allude to it. It just happens, right? So it seems like it was all luck, maybe. But so anyway, him and the typical crew that you've seen him with in the past, they're now I'm getting the spoilers right away. They're down in the dumps. Let's just say that they're not doing too well on their stealing me booty. But
Keep going.
That was so horrible.
Leprechaunish.
Obviously they've alluded to the Flying Dutchman and Captain Will Turner, which do we know about his relation, Jimmy?
It's kind of alluded to in some of the trailers, but I wonder if a lot of people might have missed it. All you got to know is that a cursed crew is coming for Jack. That's all. That's
about it. That's the most brief synopsis you could ever get. Is a cursed crew is coming for Jack. People help him along the way, yada yada, and they're obviously searching for some object that's going to help him out. Boom, done.
Joe, if that brief synopsis were to hold true, how would you describe the very first Pirates of the Caribbean, or maybe the second Pirates of the Caribbean films?
Cursed crew is not coming for Jack in the first one.
Yeah, well, they end up kind of coming for him, kind of.
Yeah.
Through a roundabout way, but then the second one for sure.
Yeah.
Black Spot and all that.
Second one. Yeah. Third one.
Continuation of the second one.
Yeah, I can't even remember the ones between the first and this last one.
That's funny because I was just about to ask you, do you have a favorite Pirates of the Caribbean? Kind of moving on to that. Is there any that stand out? Apparently the first one does, right?
The first one for sure. It was something new, fresh, and I've heard it said, but Jack Sparrow, the character played by Johnny Depp, is lightning in a bottle. Probably one of the most iconic characters ever. People loved it. It was like what got people in the seats at the movie theater, right? Not to mention, there's not a lot of other pirate stuff.
Oh, like big movies, Disney's, you mean?
Yeah. Like Disney's kind of capitalized on that, and it was something a little bit more original than everything else that hits the movie theaters. And I think it captured attention. I mean, this movie franchise has been so big that I remember the second one after the first one, people were going dressed up as pirates to see the movie, So I don't know. If one stands out, it's the first one. I really liked it. It was just well done. It was perfect. It was fresh. It wasn't too ridiculous. And I liked they held the cursed crew up to a high standard. The Black Pearl was the most ominous and dangerous ship on the seas, right?
Do you know why it was, Joe?
Yeah, how that ship has survived through the years, who knows?
It's because of this guy right here, Captain Barbossa, the OG and only true pirate in any of these films. I'll fight you on it, man. He's all about himself. It's beautiful. I love him. He's so good. One of the best lines he says.
Jeffrey Rush he's good.
He says in the first film, he says, people are easier to search once they're dead. Like, he's just going to wipe everybody out. Like, he's like, I'm done with this whole, like, taking captives thing. Sorry. Anyway, back to Pirates 5. Joe, do you want to get into spoiler talk, or is there anything else? Do you want to give it, like, a score for yourself before we get into it?
Yeah, I'd probably only give it about a 7.5. 7. 7. We'll call it a 7. Strong 7.
It
If you
seems
want
like
to
it's
get down the decimals, I'll call it 7.35.
no, don't get
Almost
that.
a
We 7s or 7.5 or.
7.5.
Well, it seems like it came down a little bit in score after you saw it. You saw it just like 2 days ago, right?
Yeah, I mean, I want to leave it. Yeah, I saw it Sunday over Memorial Day weekend, and the theater was full, so it's doing well. There are things that stand out to me that were just like, what? Like just asinine almost. I was like, that would never happen. But
yeah,
I get the principle, and it's cool for the story, and it's comical and all that, but I don't know. Sometimes I don't quite get off on the whole, like Barbossa's crew. They just seem dumb and foolish.
yeah.
There's never that serious crew. The only serious crew is the one of the cursed crew, Salazar's crew.
Yeah.
But they're all dead ghosts. You expect that of them. But they're pirates, man. They should be mean, angry, and not cracking jokes or being stupid. Like, Mr. Barbossa, I know you said never disturb you unless we thought it through. Like the last time when the ship was on fire, we thought that through. Stupid. I hate that sort of thing. I get that there should be some comedy mixed in there, but isn't Jack Sparrow enough?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know. And sometimes they almost take Jack Sparrow and they drag him down and pull him through the mud, which they almost literally did in this one. He falls over a fence. Anywho, are we to spoilers yet? But
all right, do you want to do spoilers? I'll put on my pirate cap. Do you want me to put on my pirate cap?
We're doing spoilers. Get that thing on. Let's go.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put the pirate cap on now. All right. This is very difficult to do with the headphones on. Perfect. I think this is
turn the headphone, put the headband around your neck, and
we'll try that out.
Make it work.
I'm like one of those cool kids. This isn't working so well. This hurts my ears. Perfect. All right, this is super comfortable.
Does it not fit?
I'll just like hold it like this, just like super.
All right.
And I forgot.
The spoilers. If you haven't seen it, don't watch past this point.
Oh yeah, I was going to tell you this too, Joe. I'm going to do the rest of this in a Captain Jack Sparrow impression. So savvy, right? Okay, let's go. All right, Joe. What do you think of the film? What do you think of me film? No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
Actually, not bad. Keep it going. That's funny. That was a good impression. That was a good impression, man.
If I can think of some more lines, I'll try to say them.
First of all, discovering Jack in the vault, it was all okay, but they make him seem almost ridiculously foolish. Like he's no longer a pirate; he's a fool or a jester. You know what I mean?
So the question, okay, so Joe's referring to a part where there's this bank, and I guess everyone's really bored one day. So the person who owns the bank, he's like, I'm going to show you this vault where we're going to keep all our money. It's going to be the safest bank anywhere. It's like super amazing vault that we have, and no one can hack into it or break it or whatever. And then, of course, they open it up, and Jack Sparrow's in there asleep, like kind of drunk, and he happens to be with the bank owner's wife somehow. I think the real interesting story would be how he got into that vault and how he seduced the wife, because it's just like Jack has these amazing skills that we're just supposed to assume that he has, but we've never seen it in practice. Like, I didn't know he was good at like cracking safes, or somebody else on the crew good at that. Like, he's just in there asleep, so it had to have been him, but he got locked in there.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's kind of cool. I mean, it's a good reveal. I think it's a surprising reveal. I'll be honest, as we're watching that, I wasn't really thinking, oh, Jack's going to be in the vault. He's going to be in the vault. I didn't really think that. I mean, I thought for sure, like, somebody's going to try and steal it. They were setting it up for that, big time. But I didn't expect him to be in the vault.
When I saw it, I just thought, oh, yeah, I thought it was going to be empty. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah, that's a Jack Sparrow. Like, look at him. Here he is.
Yeah, I thought it might be empty, too. I thought that was the other option. But I just, I don't know. They almost take him from like, oh, he's Jack Sparrow. He's awesome and he's hilarious. And then they take him and they put him down to like, he's kind of a dumb fool that is good to laugh at. You can't really take him seriously. So I don't know, because he's got this rapport. He's Captain Jack Sparrow. He's known all over just because he's crazy and does get things done. But now it's like he's just known for being the dumbest drunk pirate you've ever seen.
Yeah, it's very much like a sad kind of like rock star, kind of like he's just like, it's like, remember me? I'm the best.
Maybe a little bit.
It's like,
maybe a little bit, or he's just too full of himself.
Not to mention there's a Paul McCartney cameo in here because it's like if Keith Richards can do it, then Paul McCartney can do it. It's like, what the heck am I looking at? It's like, anyway.
I didn't know it was Paul McCartney. My parents told me that afterward. First of all, I'm not a fan of the Beatles. I'm sorry, people. I've heard all their stuff, whatever. I'm never going to go on Spotify and search the Beatles and start playing
but it's
them.
Still good today. It still means something. That's okay. If you don't like Beatles, I'm not going to make you like Beatles. Do you like Elvis?
Yeah, a little bit, but then again, I'm not going to search them on Spotify either.
Sure. Usually I'll have some people would be like, I like Elvis, not the Beatles. Or I like Beatles, not Elvis. But anyway, but yeah, it's okay. They steal this vault from the bank with these horses, and they're pulling it, and they're pulling the vault, and it slams into the side of it, of like the bank. And I'm like, oh, it'll break and give way. This is going to be Fast and Furious 5. They're going to destroy Brazil, with the whole vault crushing the place. And then instead of the vault flying out, it takes the whole bank, takes the whole house or the whole structure with. I thought, how are they going to top this? When I was watching that, it's like the first action scene in the entire film, like really big action, and it's just like freaking mayhem and doesn't make sense. And
yeah, I remember it all too well. I don't care what kind of team of horses you have; they're not going to pull the whole house off of its foundation, or the foundation and the house. I don't know. They just literally pull the whole house intact off the foundation with the vault still in it somehow, and they pull it around down Main Street, and eventually, and they're busting through balconies and stuff and taking off corners of buildings and running sheds over and stuff. And then they end up going under an overpass, like an archway made out of concrete of some sort, and just demolishes the house, and there they go running with the safe. All the while, the safe door is open, so everything's falling out anyway.
Which I liked. I thought it was like, okay, good. They can't get away with all this and then have all this gold. I was like, this is going to be really stupid if that's the case. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah, how'd they... I just... No. What did they have? 8 horses tied up there? Maybe 10?
Well,
I don't
just
care.
ripped off the wall.
It's not gonna work.
It would have, like, the ropes would have snapped or something would have happened. It just seemed really. It just seemed too over the top, and then Jack was like jumping over the stone bridge and like landing, and it's like he was totally fine. The guy is invincible. They don't tell you this, but Jack has 2 superpowers. One is invincibility, and the second is that he can do things like with ropes and pulleys and stuff that most normal people cannot. He does whatever he wants, and it's just it kind of bums me out, man. Like there could have been a cooler, just like a less crazy action scene to start with, because the other action set pieces in this film don't really top this one. Not that they need to, but this one I thought, oh man, they're just going to keep trying to top it and top it and top it and top it. But it just kind of was a bad start to the film, I thought. That was just me. I don't know. It sounds like you didn't like it either. But yeah, so anyway, crew's like, screw you, Jack. We're not hanging out with you anymore. And so they leave. And then Jack ends up getting imprisoned for basically drunken, disorderly conduct and being a pirate out in the world, because he trades his magic compass that can tell you where to go anytime you need, whenever you need. And he trades it for a bottle of rum or whatever, and then gets caught and goes to prison. It's like...
Yeah, I know. It was something. I did like after he's in prison and they pull him out and he's going to the gallows, and Paul McCartney, his Uncle Jack, like... Okay. Anywho, they have a little moment or whatever, and it was comical. And Paul McCartney did a good job. It's all right, whatever.
Yeah,
but
it's fine.
Anywho, so they pull him out. He's out at the gallows, and what's her name? Corinne is out there too. She's gonna get she's gonna get hanged.
Because she's a witch, because she practices science and math, and the whole world's like, a woman can't do that. Maybe that's how it was back then, but it's like insane, the witch hunt they go on for this first. It's like anyway,
yeah,
it's weird. But anyway, she's gonna get hung at the same time as Jack is about to get his head chopped off by a guillotine.
Yeah, he didn't know what a guillotine was. Apparently, at this time, guillotine.
I think it's guillotine. I want to call it guillotine, but I think the L's in French are it's a y sound.
Yeah,
One of those.
la.
One of those.
I took 3 years of French. I think I'd remember some of it. Anywho, yeah. So at the time, the guillotine was like a new invention, and they're like, "How would you like to die, pirate? Hanged? What was the other one? Hanged?
Stoned to death.
Oh, the other one was a firing squad.
Oh yeah, you're right.
The new invention, the guillotine, and he's like, "Ooh, sounds French. I like the French." Yada yada. And,
I thought he was gonna make the parlay joke.
well,
What other joke? He made a different joke there. He said something like the French came up with this other thing, but he should have done the parlay joke from the first. Oh, mayonnaise.
You know, the French came up with mayonnaise.
What? What is that? Like, even if mayonnaise do exist in this time, all I'm thinking is this a Hellman's commercial? I was like, they're like, he's like mayonnaise. Like, he like looks at the camera. He's like,
Screw that,
mayonnaise.
Miracle Whip.
It's like, come on, man.
Anywho, when he sees the guillotine, he's like, "Oh, on second thought, you know, good old stone throwing would be good. It gets the crowd involved, right? You know." Anywho, the guillotine moment when he's up there, and then his crew shows up because they were paid off by Henry, who is Turner's son. They show up and they kind of save the day, but they bust out all the framework on the guillotine, so it starts swinging around, and he's still locked in it. And every time he swings up, the blade is released, so it comes closer to him. But then he spins down under, and it drops to the top again, and he comes back up, and it gets close again. And it's like for a second they actually get you. It's like a 3 spins of oh my god. I mean, you know he's not going to die because that's the whole point of the movie is, you know, the him escaping death every 2 feet, you know. But I thought that was a fun part. I enjoyed that.
But then they go back to it.
Before we get too much further,
they did it again though.
They go back to it again because it gets hit again.
I was like, don't do it again. Like also like his crew, like they came back for like 12 silver pieces and that was it. I was like, anyway, keep going.
Oh yeah, when they save that, when the one guy's fighting off the what do they call the guys with the hoods that kill people?
Executioners.
Yeah, the executioner. He's fighting him off with a sword. He does it, or she kicks him off. He falls off, and then she does some motion, and the pirate's like, "Oh," and he hits the lever, and she drops.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of funny. I mean, they're just dumb fools, but needless to say, I think we should take a step back, Jimmy. And shame on us for not starting off with it. It's my fault. But the introduction, what'd you think?
Oh,
the opening.
I thought it was going to pan out in a bigger way. Because the beginning, we see a young boy, age 10 maybe. I don't know how he figures this out, but he goes out on a rowboat. He ties some rocks to a rope, ties the rope to his ankle, jumps off the boat into the ocean, and the Flying Dutchman ends up picking him up. And Will saves him more or less, and he's talking to him, you know, his son. He's like, "You can't be out here. Like, you got to go home. Don't deal with this." And he's like, "Oh, the crew can hear you," which maybe that's where the budget cut. They're like, "We can't show fish people or whatever else." And then,
oh yeah, I was wondering you didn't see any of them.
Yeah, it was weird. And he's just like, you know, you just forget about me. And he's like, "I'll never forget about you, father." And then I liked the ending of that conversation because the ship starts to sink again. And Will goes down with it, and the boy just has to go float up to the surface, which I liked that, and I thought it was cooler. I thought, like, oh, Will will be kind of a big part of this story because he's the captain of the Dutchman, and that's kind of a nice ace in the hole to have if you have, like, some crazy cursed pirates you're fighting. Maybe it would be nice if you could call your buddy Will. But, yeah, no, they didn't do it. I liked it, but it didn't pan out. It just bookended the film. I was like...
Yeah, I really won't lie. I really was hoping that that Will and the Flying Dutchman would be part of the movie a little more than they were.
It's so cool.
It's basically beginning and end.
And he's like a superhero too, or he's got like superpowers. If he has any of the powers that Davy Jones had, he could do a lot of damage. Like they should have had him in the freaking movie.
Yeah,
like,
but You know, how would the Flying Dutchman even compare to this, you know, super Spaniard killing ship? I mean, that thing was, I mean, it was basically indestructible. They were all kind of like ghosts. You couldn't kill them.
So here's the question. Typically, you're right. They've even proved that it didn't really have necessarily the greatest firepower. It has those triple barrel guns on the front, which are pretty nice, but it couldn't match the speed of something like the Pearl. And it's, you know, ace in the hole was the Kraken. Kraken's dead. We know that from the third movie. But at one point, Karina says Krakens multiple. So I kept thinking, what if he just got another Kraken? You know, and like trained another Kraken, and it'd be like, hey, guess what, Spanish guys, like you're gone because the Kraken came for you. Or Will goes and talks to him, says, do you fear death? And then like Salazar says, like, you know, I am death, and then they would, you know, fight. Like, that's perfect. You got two characters that are all about death, and you don't even have
like in the end when they I thought for sure in the end when they kidnapped Henry, I thought for sure the frickin' Flying Dutchman would show up, and I was pissed when it did.
How cool would it have been at that last point where that Spanish ship that could like, it's like a big caterpillar and smashes stuff, which it kills a bunch of British guys. David Wenham, Faramir, is in this movie, and he's barely in it, but he's there. He dies later on. What if the Flying Dutchman would have shot up right then? That would have been so, or to block it or something, but like blocking them, and been like, whoa, what's this? And that Will would have been there with like the Fishman crew, and he'd been like, let's go. Like, oh man. Wasted potential.
Dude, here's why they didn't do it, is because they didn't want to pay Orlando Bloom. But it was a severely missed opportunity. It would have made that movie so much more. And I don't mean make it so much more money. I mean, it would have made it that much better of a movie. I think it was just a feature that should have been capitalized on, because I admit right away, I'm like, oh, Will Turner, capture the Dutchman. Like, you know, it's going back to like when he became the captain, and you wanted to see like what he's going to do with that, you know, and it was just like, nothing. Nope. Really? Nope. and it made me a little upset. That was the one thing. I walked out of the theater. I even said it to Haley and my parents. I was like, what the heck, you know? Yeah. And but there was actually, he was on not Letterman, but like Jimmy Kimmel or something, or Fallon, and Orlando Bloom was, and he mentioned, I'm in the movie for like 10 minutes. It took me like 3 weeks to shoot though. I was like, well, I wish you were in it for like a half an hour there, bud.
You messing with your mic, by the way? I keep getting stuff over here.
Oh, I was tightening up the shaft on there.
Oh. Anyway,
sorry.
No, it's
sorry
fine.
For the disruption.
No, that's fine. You know, they do steal like Henry weirdly in that like second to last fight. I'm trying to remember like the meat of this movie. It's mostly just kind of them like trying to run away, and you know, one thing
trying to coordinate the star map and get to the remote island that they can't find. Oh,
what did you think about the whole witch thing? Like the British have a witch in prison that Barbossa goes to talk to, which I love the scene with him walking to go see her, because he's like the perfect pirate. He's got like the peg leg, this kind of big silhouette. You can see in the trailers probably.
It was kind of cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he's like, I need a minute with your witch or whatever, and it was like, okay, like Barbossa, like, and he's just talking about like he goes there, you know, not to save Jack or anything. He just talks about what's going on, and he says, you know, whatever I can do to protect myself and my treasure and everything that I have, that's what I'm going to do, because Barbossa is living at this point at the beginning of this film the truest pirate's life, like the pinnacle of a pirate's life. He is the commander. He's running the seas basically in the Caribbean. He's got tons of money. He's got just like everything he could ever want. They don't really show him use his Blackbeard powers or whatever, because he has technically like rope control, or the ship, he like with his sword he can do a lot of stuff. He should be able to. They never show that, which bums me out, but I love him in this movie. Like there's still a good chunk of Barbossa, even though he kind of plays like the second villain for a bit, because he goes to parlay with Salazar and says like, hey, you know what, if you kill me, you're not going to find Jack, but if you work with me, I'll bring you right to him. It's like, he's like, I don't care about Jack. Jack's been the worst thing in my life. Like, if you kill Jack, that'd be great. Like, he's like, whatever. That way he won't kill him because he's a pirate hunter and he would eventually go for Barbossa. But did you like Barbossa in this movie, the portrayal of him?
I did. Not to mention they kind of give him some humanity and show that deep down he's not just all pirate and gruff and a scallywag as they call him. He's a human.
Yep.
So that was kind of cool.
Well, after he finds out,
I'm relating to the.
I'll say, well, when he finds out Karina, the main woman or female protagonist in this film, happens to be his daughter, which it's fine. It's a nice reveal. I guess I wouldn't really completely expect it. They kind of hint at it here and there, but it was nice. The only problem I had is that at the end, he does sacrifice himself for her when he really doesn't need to. It's almost like Jeffrey Rush is like, all right, I'm kind of out of Pirates, even though we've seen him die before in Pirates. So they can always bring him back. Let's just bring him back if, because he dies in a way that doesn't really to stop this villain that he wasn't worried about anymore, because the guy was just a normal human being at that point. He wasn't a super ghost or anything. It's like, okay. I don't know. He does shoot somebody, which is great. He saves Jack from some sort of really stupid, weird wedding scene. Joe, you know what I'm talking about? Like in that whale skeleton?
Yeah.
What the heck was that, man?
What was that? And why was it even in the movie? I don't know.
It's like a reveal that the guy, there's like a bald guy there. Jack like wakes up after getting shipwrecked or whatever. And then he wakes up and he's getting like married, like shotgun wedding to this weird guy from his past that I don't remember. And the guy's got a very not good looking sister and she's not very flattering or very nice or whatever. And they're going to get married.
Just say she looked like a man, a really large man with a wig.
It was just such a weird. I was sitting there thinking, why are we doing this? Like, why is this scene happening right now? It was just completely unnecessary. And there's a few scenes that were kind of like that in this movie. That and maybe the British antagonists, like I said before, David Wenham or Faramir from Lord of the Rings. He was kind of the Captain Norrington from the first film. He's kind of like, we're gonna take down these pirates. But then at the end, he just gets wiped out. Like the enemy Spanish ship comes out and just kills them, and then they're all gone. It's like, why do we spend any time with him at all? It seems wrong.
Oh yeah, but besides speaking just about the character and the money spent for him to play him or whatever, I feel like they were just trying to show off the power of Salazar's ship.
Sure, but
show off that he was really able to just wipe the map of people,
Yeah, but they already showed that before.
So
he's taking out other stuff. Yeah,
and did they need to get the British involved anymore once it gets down to Salazar and the Jack Sparrow and all that? Do they really need to have the British involved too?
Yeah, it's
probably not.
That's the problem they had on Stranger Tides, just the same way a little bit. They didn't really have the British involvement, but the Spanish kind of like came and like did stuff and then left. Like they came and they like took out the Fountain of Youth area and then they like walked away. And it was like, okay. So yeah, the nice thing is though, he wouldn't, as a Spanish guy, he wouldn't have cared about the British. So killing them made perfect sense. He was like, I'll probably just get rid of that ship. Like just kill it. They're not pirates, but they're in my way. Yeah. They're British. We're not friends. So let's, I feel like I'm kind of being harsh on this movie, and I did a review of it, so if anybody wants to see that, it's right up here. But I think some of the special effects in this movie are pretty dang good. I think the undead guys look pretty sweet. I like Javier Bardem, like his crazy hair. I thought that was pretty cool. I like
the ghosts were well done. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty intimidating, especially that scene that we saw, unfortunately, in the trailers, where they attack a British ship in that Devil's Triangle and they kill a bunch of them. And like the men on the ship don't even know what to do because they're just like, what is that? Do you guys hear that? They're just like getting pulled into the shadows and people are just getting stabbed and ripped apart. I really like that, and I wish I wouldn't have seen it as a trailer because I kept thinking, this will be their tactic. When they fight other ships, they're just going to pull up in the night and then no one's going to be able to respond to that fighting. But they don't do that. But I really like that effect. You like the sharks, Joe? Like those sharks? Undead sharks?
Oh, that was cool. Especially when they were dragging them out of the ship.
Yeah, like they're just kind of like, here you go. Here you go.
That was kind of neat.
I think their marketing should have focused on the undead hammerhead shark, because that phrase alone would probably get a lot of people in the theaters. You're like, we have an undead hammerhead shark. People would be like, oh, really? Like, for me, I would have been like, ooh, like, I'd like to see more of the undead hammerhead shark, if you don't mind. Even though they are very ineffective at what they do. Maybe it's because they're dead. They couldn't really kill anybody. They weren't very... They should have shown them killing people, right, Joe? They should have had them take out some cannon fodder. Am I right?
They should have. They didn't show them off too well, did they? Besides chomping into the boat.
Yeah. You look like you're bored of this movie. You look like you're just like, I'm done with pirates, man. I don't.
No, I don't know. Part of me is a little let down because they did away with all curses on the sea.
Yeah. Did you stay for the after credit scene?
What? There's an after credit scene?
All right.
Spoil it for me.
All right.
For everybody.
All right. So here we are. Enter the room of Will Turner and Elizabeth Turner, and they're sleeping. They're on their bed. They're like, it's been, man, what a journey, but they're just asleep. Anyway, door creaks open slowly. And I was telling my friend in the theater, if they do this, I'm going to lose my mind. If it's the tease I thought it was. And I was cackling out loud. So in comes this figure, Joe. We see a silhouette. It's got this hat, and you're like, what is it? And then you see tentacles come out. And then it's like Will's kind of shifting in his sleep or whatever. And then you see a claw get raised into the air, and Will wakes up. He starts up. He's like looking around, looks over. There's nobody there. He's like, okay. And so he kind of puts his arm around Elizabeth and kind of just goes back to sleep. Camera slowly pans down to the floor, Joe, where there's a puddle of water and some barnacles. And I'm thinking, oh, it's a Davy Jones tease. Except for the last time we saw Davy, somebody stabbed his heart and he fell into the middle of a maelstrom. How is that a curse? Like, I don't. Is he back? Like, it's like, why would he hate Will? Why? Like, I guess maybe that's why. So many questions, Joe. Like, why did they feel the need to do this? Is he a mortal man again? Does he still have the claw? Like, it was like,
No, I missed that. I do like the closure with Will and Elizabeth, though.
How much do you think they play Keira Knightley to just stand around and hug him and kiss him? Because I didn't see that she was in the trailers, but she was. And I thought, oh, cool, that she showed up for this. I didn't know she was going to be there. So I was like, oh, that was kind of a nice little surprise. It does close up, Pirates at World's End or Pirates 3. But I just thought, I was like, wow, they should have focused on Will more. He should have been more of a focal point. He should have been the focus of this film. And Salazar's men should have been kind of like the side objective. Like with Jack.
Yeah,
Jack
and the whole thing was for Henry to save his father from the curse, right? By getting the trident of Poseidon. Which, yeah, I don't know. It seemed like a bit of a letdown to me.
Yeah, I also don't know how, like, Barbossa's been everywhere. I think they don't talk about this much, but Barbossa got like a ruby from this magical island that leads you to the trident of Poseidon, and he ripped it off. Or he made
Barbossa stole the diary with the ruby on the cover from an Italian person.
Oh, that's what it was.
Galileo.
Oh,
Galileo.
Yeah. So
Barbossa stole it from him.
So Galileo went to this island with all these shiny rocks, and he stole a piece of it, and then put it on this book. And then Barbossa's daughter eventually got it from Barbossa.
Wait. Galileo Galilei is the one who set up the book with the ruby on it. He discovered that island. He made the map and all that. Barbossa stole the book, left it with her on the steps, thinking the ruby would be a nice, change in for her to get some money and live a decent life, sort of a deal.
Yeah, you're totally right. I just think they probably should have shown maybe that scene. If like Galileo's discovering this island, maybe that's your first scene. If you're gonna make it all about.
Oh yeah, that could have been cool. Yeah.
Man, Joe, there's just...
Yeah, so the island that they find that was kind of undiscovered and the star map led them to it was basically like a rocky outcropping in the middle of the ocean that had a bunch of precious gems. And basically on the island, it was another map that resembled the stars above, and all the dark red rubies shined once they fit that one last piece into the one. They all shined and created a map, and basically pointed to the ocean, and it spread apart the ocean. And down there in the trench was Poseidon's prison or something like that. That's where his trident was.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing. I mean, that was all right. That was all okay. I just, man, where was the Flying Dutchman? I just keep coming back to that. But anywho,
well, even the Black Pearl, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, the Black Pearl. I was so happy to see that thing like come back. Like, that was
I hated the way they brought it back. It was like in a bottle that Blackbeard had put it in, and then Barbossa released it with the sword of Blackbeard, and then it's like this dinky little thing. They're like, it needs the sea, and then it does this whole like kind of like it pops back and blah, blah, blah. It's like the Black Pearl in the first movie is like the namesake of that film, and it is this ominous and scary thing that isn't just like now we see it and we're like, oh, the Black Pearl, like it's such a safe and thing. It's like that thing was this like the terror and the scourge of the Caribbean for a long time, and now it's just like, yep, there she's back, and they don't even get to really fight with her. Like, come on, she's the Pearl. Like, she's the best fighting.
I know. They kind of downplay that the same way they downplay Jack
and the Queen Anne's Revenge. What, they need to focus more on the ships in a pirate film. It's like, anyway, sorry, Joe. Keep going. I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's a point to be made. I mean, I feel that way as well. I just, yeah, I don't know. So in the end, they bust up the Poseidon's trident, and that breaks all the curses on the sea. So basically, anything mythological or any curse is just extinguished. Flying Dutchman is now like a normal ship on top of the surface of the water. The crew is all normal humans, including Will. The Salazar and his crew, they all turn to humans. And
all drown promptly.
Good to go again. And a lot of them drown. Some of them climb the chain, then get hit and drown. Salazar gets stabbed right through the back by Barbossa when he saves his daughter. It's a whole thing. Anywho, I don't know what more. I don't know that I can say much more about this. The ending was, it was just the compass. I got a rendezvous beyond the horizon or something. I don't know. It was all kind of whatever. I don't know. The Flying Dutchman, man, we needed it. It would have really amped up the film a lot more.
It would have been a lot of cooler story if maybe they would have focused on saying like, hey, Will, at one point, we see him in the beginning do all that stuff, and then he goes to take their souls, and they say, we're not going to do it. And then he says, you have to do it. That's how it works here. We can't just have weird ghost people running around, like, who get broken out of this prison because Jack trades the compass, and that breaks him out of the prison. I don't know what the compass has to do. Anyway, it's just how the curses work, or Devil's Triangle curse magic. But
they didn't exactly explain the compass, did they?
Yeah, but it would have been a lot cooler.
A little bit, but they don't understand the connection.
What if you would have had the ghost ship, the Spanish people, versus like Will, the Dutchman, and the fish people? What if they were to have fought? Like, maybe that would have been the whole conflict of the story, is like, these guys are going to fight, and Will knows that he's going to die, and Henry finds out, and he says, like, we got to save my dad from this because he is not going to be able to stop this guy. And Jack's like, I'm not really interested in the whole thing. And they're like, well, you have to, because if you don't, he's going to come and he's going to kill you. So I think that would have been a lot more compelling of a story. I think that would have been a lot better.
It really could have been. And I almost feel like it should have been. Part of me doesn't want to see the Flying Dutchman as the lesser of them, but granted, the ghost people, Salazar's crew, they would have exterminated the Dutchman, I think. Because, one, I feel like, are the people on the Dutchman killable? Not really.
Yeah,
Not
some
really,
of them can die. Some kind. It's hard to tell.
Blow them up? If you blow them up, maybe? I don't know. Yeah. But
they're tough.
I don't know. Would there be a winner, or would it just be constant fighting forever? I guess. But part of me wanted to see, they steal Henry. They're in a big epic battle, and it looks like the Jack's team with Henry and Karina they're just at the end of it all, and they're gonna lose, right? They're on the cusp of losing and dying. All of a sudden, the Dutchman comes, whoosh, boom, there it is. gives some final blows. Salazar on the run, but then, oh, you think Salazar's dead. Oh, all of a sudden he shows up when you find the trident, and he's there. Something of that nature, and him and Will are duking it out, and Will's losing or something, and then he breaks the trident, and Will stabs him as a human or something like that. Something a little more climactic. I don't know. They could have done something real creative with that. I just feel like not having the this is, to a certain extent, the movie's focused on Will. They just don't ever show him except for the beginning and the end, because it's all about freeing him from the curse, right? Or supposed to be.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
Just a big freaking carrot hanging out in front of that donkey that they did not grab.
Joe, 2 final questions. First one. What the heck was up with the statue on the front of the Spanish ship coming to life to fight Jack Sparrow? Or whatever the heck that thing was.
Oh, thank God.
What the heck? I was like, okay, Jack's unkillable. He's jumping on all these cannons. And he's running from Salazar.
I didn't think he was killable.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was unkillable, but what the hell? Why did the frickin' ship's bow statue come to life? That was freaking ridiculous. It was stupid.
And then they tell you later on, they're like, okay, Salazar's gonna possess Henry, and they're like, remember, like, Salazar, if you do that, you'll never be able to come back to your regular form. He's like, when we break the curse, it'll be fine. When was it established that the ghosts could possess people? We're finding out powers like in the last 90% or the last 10% of the film, 90% of the way through, and I'm like, wait, you guys can possess people? I was like, why didn't you just possess anyone else and then just go kill Jack? Just walk up to him, hey, you're Jack Sparrow, right? He's like, yeah. Just be like, yep.
Oh yeah, all the ships that went into the Devil's Triangle, they just killed them all. They never thought, well, we can't get out of here, but if I possess that guy, I could just skedaddle. Yeah. All right, that's just punching holes in the thing. I don't think we need to dig that deep, because
no, we do. Okay. We do, because that needs to happen. And the statue.
There would be much of a story if they just went with the, obviously they just possess the crews that came in and just go out and do their thing, right?
Don't give them the possession powers. Don't give them the possession powers in the first place. Don't tell me later on in the film.
Shouldn't.
So
you're right. They probably should. They probably should not have even introduced that aspect. It just no.
Or possess the British guys, and at some point, and then it'll be like, oh, it's just the British coming here, and they all have crazy yellow eyes. I'm like, oh, wait a second, I think those guys are not that would have been cool, because they wouldn't have been just cannon fodder. Then it would have been, I don't know. Last question though, Joe.
Yeah.
Do you think they will, or do you think they should make another one? Your yawn speaks volumes. Just
no, my yawn is just I'm just a wee bit tired, laddie. No, I feel like I still want that itch scratched, the whole pirate thing. Jack Sparrow as a character, it's all great. I don't know that they should maybe keep this exact story going. Maybe they reinvent it somehow. I don't know. I feel like a reinvention is due.
Sure.
Maybe even a totally different franchise. Maybe instead of Pirates of the Caribbean, maybe it's Pirates of the yada yada. I don't know. You know what I mean? They probably, I don't know. Needless to say, I want the itch to be scratched. I did not dislike this film. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. Hence why it made it into that, probably, what would you call it, a C category. Anything like C minus and below, I don't know. A 7 is a pretty sturdy score for me. I like to leave a little room for improvement, and an 8 is pretty damn good. I really liked it, and I walked out thinking about it. A 9 is, heck yeah, you guys hit it on the head. A 10 is shit, I'm gonna go see it 3 more times.
Okay.
So a 7 is not bad. I enjoyed it. I don't discourage anybody from going to see it. I think you'll enjoy it. Like Jimmy said, visual effects are good. Jeffrey Rush is amazing. Jack Sparrow is still Jack Sparrow. He's enjoyable. He's comical. He's what he always has been, only just maybe a little more foolish, which if I'm being critical, like we're supposed to be, just a little too foolish. You can't take him seriously to do anything. But yeah, overall it's a pretty good movie. I hear complaints about you never feel a sense of urgency. I don't know. I got to kind of disagree there a little bit. They actually called Jack out on that. They're like, we're being chased by pirate or ghost pirates and you do nothing. And he's like, you can't do anything about it, but do what you can do or whatever. So they just, they're just sailing. They're doing what they got to do. But yeah, I don't know. I thought the pace was fine and all that. There's plenty of action. There's plenty of things to keep you on the edge of your seat and have fun with. So I don't know. I'd check it out. I recommend it. I think you'll have fun. But, once you put the critical eye towards it, like Jimmy and I are doing right now, there's a lot of things that are just
Well, we're still talking about the good things.
And if you suspend if you suspend disbelief, the whole horses pulling the house off the foundation can be a really great part of the movie. Like, oh, that was great. That was funny. And holy crap, I can't believe it worked. Or, stuff like that. So, a lot of this movie, you got to suspend that disbelief just a little bit.
Yeah. Or a lot.
So.
I have a lot of same sentiments as Joe, but I think Jeffrey Rush is the best part of these. And if you like these movies, it's just more of that. Jack is better, kind of like a Deadpool character, I think, when he's part of an ensemble cast as opposed to being the main focus. That's the issue that they're having with a lot of these now, is that they're like, it's Jack Sparrow like 80% of the time. It's like, Jack's not the greatest guy. He's kind of a villain, and like the whole savvy, like all that only goes so far for so long. So yeah, I don't know if it does well and it's doing well internationally. It didn't do very well here. It had the second lowest box office weekend for any Pirates film that's ever come out, Joe, believe it or not. And I kind of wanted to just ask you, what do you think, of the 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, which one do you think did the best and which one do you think did the worst in their initial opening weekend? And we adjusted them for inflation. Or they are adjusted. Which one do you think did the best?
I'll bet the second one did the best.
Very good, Joe. Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest was $164.5 million for the opening weekend, which is very good, and that's adjusted. It was $135.6 million back in the day. And which one do you think did the worst? Don't think about it too long.
The Blackbeard one.
No, actually, it was the very first one. It only had 62 million. I think the first one, people in that opening weekend, they're like, and then they saw it and they're like, so that's why the second Dead Man's Chest.
Really?
Was Stranger Tides actually had 98 million. So that one, like, so far, like, crushes Dead Man Tell No Tales. And that was without Will Turner or Will Smith or Keira Knightley. I almost said Will Smith. That's why I said
Will Smith.
Oh my gosh, they're like, we're gonna get Dwayne Johnson and Will Smith for Pirates 6. They're like, we're just gonna have a lot of charisma.
Just jump off the high place now.
The most ripped pirate in the world. Just Dwayne just walks. He's like, avast me hearties.
Captain Rock. Captain Rock.
Oh my gosh, that'd be horrible. But yeah, kind of interesting. That's how that's doing. But again, the rest of the world, kind of catching on to it, just to give you guys a feel for how they did overall, though. The first one, Curse of Black Pearl, after like total worldwide gross, $654 million. And then Dead Man's Chest, over $1 billion. At World's End was $963 million. Stranger Tides did over $1 billion as well. I don't know. Blackbeard.
Wow.
And we're still waiting. $324 million so far for Dead Man's Chest. So yeah, I don't know why on Stranger Tides, just like Penelope Cruz, who I like. I wish she would have come back for this one because she was interesting. She got marooned on an island and on Stranger Tides. Never even followed up with that or the mermaid stuff. Okay. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. That's okay.
I like the whole pirate vibe, Jimmy. Part of me after seeing this one, I was like, I enjoyed it. I wonder if I want to go back and watch the others. I think Dead Man's Chest, I've seen that one a few times, or at least parts of it. I get the whole Davy Jones thing, yada yada, and it all whatever. Part of me wants to see 3 and 4 though. For some reason, I can't fill that gap in my mind.
2 and 3 are kind of like one big movie. 3 fills out the end of what 2 leads up to, and then 4 is like its own little minor thing. I actually like 4 a lot. I think for me it would go like Pirates 1, 4, maybe this one, Dead Men Tell No Tales, and then 2 and 3 are at the end. They're kind of, but I love the Pirates vibe too. I'm wearing a periodic table of Pirates shirt. I love Pirates. Like, it's so good. It's such a cool world to be in. I just wish that the focus wasn't on Jack. Like, you gotta stop. Jack's not that great. Like, he's cool and he's interesting. In that first movie, he's so good, but it's because he's playing opposite of the straight man that is Will Turner. Because Will's just kind of like, I will save the damsel in distress, and Jack's just kind of like, as long as we're not dead, whatever. Like, it's so good, like that back and forth.
Yeah. Does your mommy say my name in her sleep or whatever he says?
Never mentioned you. Never talked to him. I was like,
never mentioned you.
It's like, yep, she would never bring him up. I wonder what she was up to these days.
Oh, psych. Guess what? Henry is actually Jack's son.
No, that can't. Technically not possible. The only time they ever were intimate together is when she kissed him and chained him up so the Kraken could kill him. They were never intimate any other time. And that whole movie is like her like holding the compass and it's like pointing at Jack, and she's like, no, I don't want to like him. It's like, they were gonna get married. Her and Will are gonna get married at the beginning of the second movie, and this is, man, Elizabeth.
Yeah, and how that happened? She actually liked Jack. Kind of a thing there for a second.
But then again, she goes from governess daughter to pirate queen, which some people really like. I don't know. The third movie is so. There's a lot going on in that movie. There's a giant woman who turns into a bunch of crabs. So, what can I say? I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Calypso.
Oh yeah. Now I remember.
Oh, I don't know. You know what? Sorry, quick side tangent. In the third one, they talk about how they bound Calypso to human form. The pirates did. How did they do that? I would like to see that, to be honest with you. How did a bunch of pirates get together and say, hey, you know what we should do? We should tame a sea witch together and bound her in the form of a human. Where is that? Because I would love to see that. Because God knows it doesn't pay off for them, because they're like, oh, we're going to release her to take out the East India Trading Company. All she does is turns into a maelstrom that 2 ships go into and 1 ship comes out. And then, but wait, 2 ships come out and then they blow up the other one. And then all the other ships that were going to fight don't fight. Sorry. At World's End makes me pretty miffed. Sorry. Maybe 3 is the worst. Maybe 3 is the worst. It has some great effects, though. Davy Jones looks great. I love Davy Jones. Captain Jack Sparrow. I love it.
And Calypso was like his first love or something? Was his...
Yeah. He loved her, and then she kind of... There was kind of like a betrayal, or there's something weird going on where he kind of, he confronts her and says, like, I loved you and all this stuff, and, I gave my heart to you, and this is kind of what happened, and yeah, it gets pretty junked up. But I like Davy Jones. I think he's cool. I don't like his henchmen. I don't think they're very interesting, but what can I say? I like the undead pirates. I don't.
Not often are they. Not often are they. Sometimes I wonder why Davy Jones is an octopus.
Yeah, it's like if you stay on the ship long enough, like you turn into stuff. I don't know. There's one dude who's an eel. That other guy can lose his head, and it's like in a conch shell, and then like his body is separate from his.
It's slightly off-putting, and I wish there was. I guess that appeals more to the childish side of the films. I would have appreciated more like just some really like deteriorating looking men, like almost more ghoulish.
Yeah,
I would have appreciated that a bit more, but it's all right. It's whatever.
There's that one dude who's like part of the ship. That's kind of cool. And then there's that other guy who is like an eel for a face, or like he's just like an eel man, and then like he comes out and like he bites a guy. That one's pretty intense. I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Pirates, I would love for them to do a 6th one that had a refocus in on Will and stuff. Not saying that Jack can't be in it, just don't have him as much. And maybe just a smarter plot. That's all I'm saying. But my guess is, Joe, they'll probably wait 5 years or 10 years, reboot the whole franchise, and have no like Like no one else is going to come play Jack Sparrow. It's kind of like if they were to ever reboot any Marvel thing, they wouldn't be like, all right, who's the next Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man? They'd just be like, we're just going to not recast Iron Man. Just keep going, you know? So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it would be so hard. I don't know how you could create another another Jack Sparrow.
You wouldn't.
I don't think you could ever top it. I'm sorry. So
No.
hats off, Johnny Depp. Especially the first one and the earlier ones.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow is, like I said, lightning in a bottle. Perfect.
That's a good way of putting it.
That's a character unlike any we've ever seen before, and Johnny Depp does a good job bringing him to life for sure.
He's kind of like a pirate version of Val Kilmer's Doc Holliday from Tombstone. If anybody's seen that movie, I swear that's where that started. But it's very good, and I'd like it. But we'll see where they go. Plus, I don't know if Johnny Depp still wants to do these for like. Sometimes he talks about like kind of he could almost fund his own. Like if you wanted to make another one, he'd be like, I'm just do it. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, Joe, that's enough. Do you have any other closing thoughts on Pirates? Do you have anything else you want to say about the franchise as a whole? Some people want us to go through maybe and watch these and talk about them someday. I'd be happy to go through and watch them with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that myself. Some rainy Saturday or something, I'd do that. But no, I don't have much more to say. We drug on for a lot looking over this one, and time well spent. It was a good, enjoyable movie, but the quality isn't. And when I say quality, the plot, the happenings, the actions throughout the movie, they're not profound in any way. Like we say, a big part that we feel wasn't capitalized on was the Flying Dutchman. But the visual effects are great. Some of the characters are amazing. Jeffrey Rush, Barbosa, Salazar is who's that guy? I forget his name already.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah, that guy was perfect for that role.
Yeah, he's good. He's good.
But
Korean is good.
So there's a lot of good qualities.
Yeah. Also, one thing I forgot to mention. The score by Jeff Zanelli, who is like remixing the version of Hans Zimmer's one, who kind of redid the version of like Klaus Padelt's one way back in the day. All of that, it sounds really, really good. Please check it out. Some of the new themes and stuff, like some dark kind of like, and some reimaginations of some of these things. It's very good. Please check out the score of this movie. That's one of the best things.
Yeah.
That score is one of the best scores, man. It is so good, man. I love it. It's very good. It's very good. Anyway.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, Jimmy. That's something I forgot to mention, but I took notice of that in the beginning of the film. But I don't know. I don't want people to be off put because I feel like we did cover a lot of sore spots or flat lines for this movie. But I think if you go see it, you'll understand why we were talking about them. But you'll also see the good parts in it, and the good parts for me, the good parts outweighed some of the bad. Because I did enjoy it. I felt like it was a good $12 well spent. I don't anticipate seeing it again, but I enjoyed myself. And for me, being that generation that kind of, I was somewhat young when the first Pirates came out. I don't know when that was, Jimmy. Do you? It was early.
2003, I think. So like we're like
13, so yeah. I would have been 13 years old. I was pretty young. So I'm that generation that's with the original Pirates and the 5 movies that have come from that. So the closure here was good timing for me, I think. So I enjoyed it. But there was one other thing I want to touch base on, Jimmy, and you said something that provoked me on that.
I was talking about the musical score.
One of my favorite scenes from the movie, and I should have mentioned this earlier, but it's also in the trailers when Salazar is on the deck of that British ship and he's just walking through and stabbing people and slicing people.
That's such a good
flames, shot. And you really give him a lot of there's weight to the scene, but he has an airy appearance because of the way his hair floats and stuff. It's just really well done, and I love it. He steps through the flames and then he hears the sound downstairs in the dungeon, so he's like walks down the steps, and then I love how he delivers that speech and everything. I think it's just super well done, and hats off to that guy.
Yeah,
man,
his performance. I want to touch on it too because I kind of like the whole he would say like, all right, you have like just a few seconds to explain before I kill your entire crew, because every time I tap my shoe and I hit my sword like this, somebody dies. And then like one of his guys just murders somebody, and he's like, you're gonna have to talk a little faster than that. And he goes tap tap tap, and then like 3 more guys die, and you're like, oh wow, this guy's just like, he's like unhinged, and he's a little corny, but I did like him compared.
I liked it too.
Yeah, he was much more threatening than even Blackbeard was, and I think he was kind of in that same arena as like Davy Jones. Barbosa was still very like, he's just very straightforward. I'm just going to kill you if you're a problem. But Javier, or I should say Salazar, was kind of like, all right. He was always like just a little nuts, but because he was like a ghost for years stuck in this place, and yeah,
in a much lighter air. I feel like he's a much lesser comparison to like a Hitler. He's like
trying to
cleanse the world of all pirates. And
which is he really the bad guy? You know, when I try to think about this, we are rooting for presumably the bad guys here. Like the pirates are the bad guys. Like, so when they're like, oh, he's like the bad guy, I'm thinking, well, his father and his father's father before them all hunted pirates and died to pirates or whatever. And he's just trying to exterminate the world of this scourge of these people who are just going around and killing everybody. He wasn't saying everyone needs to fall in order and do all this stuff. He was just saying, I'm going to kill. He's like, no, not men, pirates. Like he said, these aren't men anymore. They're monsters. And I'm going to, he became a monster to kill them. I'm like, maybe he's the good guy. Like, in a weird way.
Kind of is in a weird way. But he also exterminates people that get in his way, sort of a deal, because he's so focused and entrenched with that rage. He's just like, boom, needle point right to it. So
I just don't like that because Jack Sparrow is so charismatic and everybody loves him that everyone thinks he's the good guy. He's ruined a lot of lives. How many people do you think were killed or injured in that whole bank vault thing? And that was just one time. Like, he's hurt a lot of people.
Yeah, so like, technically, this whole time we're just rooting for the bad people.
I also like how his bounty, though, has been brought down. Like, he goes into a bar and he sees, like, Jack Sparrow wanted, and they, like, show all the bounties, and then it's, like, it's gone down in price, like, a ton. Like, people are just kind of like, you know. Also,
it got dropped down to dead or alive, and it was all crossed out and just said dead.
Yeah, exactly. And, there's a 20-year gap between this movie, presumably, and At World's End, because that's when, Will and Elizabeth have their son. But they don't bring that up either. There's like a 20-year, like everybody should be older. It's just a little thing. Just think roughly 20.
I mean,
like his
Jack
son
seems a little older. Maybe why they show off his drunkenness a bit more and that sort of thing. So he seems a little older, but the other guys seem kind of exactly the same. The small, the dwarf, and then the guy with the lamb chop sideburns.
Oh, Mr. Gibbs. Yeah, who like
Mr. Gibbs
betrays him after, or not betrays. He's just like, I'm not dealing with you anymore, Jack, because I'm not getting paid. And then later on, he comes back. He's like, we got 12 silver pieces from this Henry kid. We'll come save you. And he's like, no, you have to pay me to save me. And I was like, I don't know what are we doing. I'm sorry. This is one last point. This is truly the final point. Joe, did you think this movie was funny?
There were parts, but they weren't memorable parts. The one that stands out to me is the bank vault scene, and then the stealing of the vault itself. But
I meant like actual jokes and comedy where they would like, "Oh, you're a horologist?" Like that. My mother was a horologist or whatever.
That one does stand out with me, and that one was kind of funny. I didn't find it inappropriate at all. I felt like it was all right. Were there other ones?
My theater was like, they had a few moments when they saw Jack without pants that they laughed, but everything else was just kind of like, all right, guys.
No, the Jack without pants thing I didn't quite get.
Well, yeah, he just like made in his cell, he made like a version of himself so people would think that was him, so he could attack people. He made it out of like hay or something in his outfit. I don't know. Yeah. I just think this movie was very funny. I think it was trying too hard, and they had like these bits. When I was in a bit, I felt like I was like, oh, this is a bit. Like they're going on to this bit. They're going on and on to this bit. I'm like, please, just go. Like, please.
The horologist thing I thought was funny. I actually enjoyed that one. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Sorry.
But they did carry it on a little long. Like I liked how, okay, it would have been, if it was a little shorter and sweeter, would have been okay. It would have been a good chuckle. All right. But then I also like So that part of it could have been done better when she introduces that she was a horologist, right? Then later in the film, where Jack's no longer tied up to the mast, he walks by Barbosa and he's like, "What's his name again? What's his real name?"
Jeffrey Rush.
No, Barbosa's real name.
Hector Barbosa.
Hector Smith.
Sure.
Anywho, he walks by. He's like, "Hector, I think you should know she's a horologist." Like, I thought,
but Hector's a smart guy. It wouldn't bother him. He's just like,
I know. He's like, I know what that is, but the fact that Jack is like somewhat dense and dumb, like pirates are, I guess. I thought it was funny. It was funny. Or I guess more so, I got the impression that Jack was smart enough, like he knows what a horologist is. He just thinks it's funny to perpetuate the foolishness.
Yeah. Did you notice Barbosa in the flashback?
No.
I'm pretty sure, because I was asking my buddy this on the way in. I thought, why was it that Barbosa was always the first mate to Jack? Not that always like being older means supremacy on pirates, but I was thinking, what the heck? But when he gets the compass and everything, there's a guy standing behind a young Jack with that CGI. The de-aging looks pretty dang good, I'd say. That looks pretty great.
Yeah, it was fun.
There's a guy in the back with a huge hat who's just standing there like a big coat, and he's just kind of like watching the whole thing transpire, who's part of that crew. I think that's a young Hector Barbosa.
Oh, no. Now I need to go look back. Seriously?
Yeah. I'm just saying, well, Joe, we'll do a commentary maybe one day, and we'll just have to go, because I do want to watch it again. I just don't want to go to the theaters again to see it.
Yeah.
So,
Huh. By the way, so to close this out, I don't know that there's much more to say about Pirates. People go see it. We're not discouraging you from seeing it. I think we mentioned a lot of good things now as well.
Joe's not, but I am. I'm going to discourage you from seeing it unless you like the films. Because if you don't like Pirates, you're not going to like this. You're going to hate this. If you saw 1 or 2 or 3 and you're like, does it change? Is it because they talk about it in all the ads and stuff? Or it's like Jerry Bruckheimer's like, it's a reinvigoration of the franchise. It's not. It's the same thing.
It's
so
not
if
really.
you don't
it's
like it, don't go see it. Like, wait till it comes out on Netflix in like 7 months, and then you can watch it.
Yeah, you're right, Jimmy. However, if you like the pirate vibe or you liked any of the older ones, I think this one sifts its way to the top. Not the top, obviously Curse of the Black Pearl #1, but I think this one is in the mix for up there in the top of the 5 movies, don't you? I think so. So that being said, if you like these, I think this one's good. It's enjoyable. But anywho, all right, moving on. On my way in to see this movie Sunday, I walk in the hallway after getting my drink, and I'm like, okay, which one is it? Theater 8. Okay, I look down here. Theater 8's there. Right here in front of me is Theater 9. I look, Alien Covenant. I'm like, I wonder why I heard all the screaming coming out of that theater.
They're like, the plot makes no sense and all these people are stupid.
The plot makes sense.
Let me just follow you into this creepy basement after I told you I was going to shoot you. That seems like a good idea. I'm sorry, Billy Crudup. I won't forgive you. It's not Billy's fault. Billy, you're great. I like Billy. I remember Billy from The Bad Guy in Mission Impossible 3. So it's always good to see him. He's kind of a good guy, kind of a bad guy.
That was stupid. I would have been like, David, you're dead.
You're done.
But anywho, no, it was cool because it was the part where the ship blows up and all the 2 little aliens are like scrounging around in that field of wheat.
Yeah.
And,
Lost World, Jurassic Park, right?
It really was like it sounded like velociraptors in there, and all you hear are people screaming and shooting guns. And I was like, "Oh, that's awesome!" I was so tempted to just walk right on in.
Did you go see like the screen, or did you hear it and you're like, "Oh, that's"?
The door was open and you could hear it, and the volume was really loud. And they have like the speakers in the back by the doors to flood the floor, and I could hear it, and it was cool. Like the sound in from that movie is pretty stellar, I think, now that I think about it. But it was just funny to hear all the gunshots and the screaming, and you could hear the alien like running, and then you could hear it making the growling sounds when it's ripping into the people out there. I was like, oh man, I should go see that again.
How much would I have to pay you to run in during that scene going like towards all the people?
Oh my god, can you imagine if you could get the xenomorph outfit and just like run in screaming during a scene like that?
I would have been excited. I would have been like, oh, good. They didn't save the Xenomorph for the last 20 minutes of this movie. Let's see more Xeno, man. Bring it in there. Or walk in and buy a ticket as the Xenomorph, and you're like, yes, one ticket, please. Like, what are you coming to see? And be like, Alien coming into it.
That would be awesome. In fact, right now, we're doing a little sidebar. I'm looking it up.
The Alien outfits?
I've done this before. You can buy Predator costumes
like
that are
$400
pretty damn legit.
I'd want a Predator one. I'd be like, I'm just checking out the competition. Hand in my car. I'd be like, my movie's coming out soon.
We both dressed up as them and walked into the theater, and I buy my ticket. I'm like, I'm gonna go see myself on the big screen.
You're too big, man.
Like, I'm here to check out the competition.
You're too big for a Xenomorph. You'd be like the biggest, most jacked Xenomorph in history. Like your arms are just like, you'd be like that one weird one from Resurrection, the one who's like, "Mama," gets pulled out through the little window thing. Good times. While you look that up, Joe, I'm gonna segue into while he's killing time. We're gonna segue into Timekillers. That's right. It's time for Timekillers. It's the games we've been playing, the movies we've been watching, TV shows we've been viewing. Let's see. I'm at the end of the 3rd season of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. It's pretty good. There's a few moments where I laugh. It's got that surreal vibe of 30 Rock. So if you guys like 30 Rock as a show, then obviously you'd like this. But I kind of want to know if anybody else has watched this. Maybe it's just me. And then Joe and I started watching Bloodline together, season 3 of Bloodline, the final chapters of that saga over on Netflix, or series, I should say. Pretty good, kind of depressing and slow, but that's just kind of how that thing goes. Like that's how that show is. But
yeah, but it's intense at the same time, and you're wondering like, oh no, how do they get out of that? And all these things that are developing. And it's just an inner tangle or inner webbing of just horrible lies and deceit. And you're like, how is this going to unfold on them? You know?
Yeah, it's intense. But the other thing I watched recently, Joe, was John Wick 2. I really did like the first John Wick, even though, spoiler alert, there is some animal violence, which I'm not a fan of. But in the sequel, they don't have any of that animal violence, and you get to see some really incredible choreography, some cool gunfighting. And the thing that I want everyone to notice, that if you watch the first one or the second one or anything like this, or even other action movies, notice where the camera is during any action set piece. If the camera's moving around a lot, it's shaking a lot, there are edits, and that means they're jumping from one angle to another all over the place. That means that typically the choreography or just the way they shot it, people don't really know what they're doing, or it's like you have a well-known actor who's not really a fighter or like a stunt double or anything like that. So that's why they do like quick cuts. In this movie, and then anything you might see Donnie Yen do, they pull out, the camera pulls back, and it's stationary. And you get to just watch the action. You don't have to be confused about who's flipping whom and who's getting shot. It's all perfect right there. It just shows you these shots. Keanu Reeves knows what he's doing. He's doing these grapples and these throws. He's just shooting people all over the place. It's very, very cool. And I just really, really appreciate it. There's even a few like times where there's just minutes upon minutes of just no talking and just action. It's just straight up action. And you can tell the entire time what's going on. And it's just a really pretty good film. If you like action movies, and it's just this kind of little segmented off thing. They call it Chapter 2, which I think is kind of dumb because they didn't call the first one Chapter 1, but they call it John Wick Chapter 2. And I thought it was really good. I like this whole weird lore behind these assassins and these rules of, you can practice your work anywhere, but if you're at like these specific hotels or sites, you can't attack anybody else. And they have this like specific currency that they use to buy everything. And I really like that as well. And kind of like, oh, is the sommelier in? And they're like, oh yeah. And that's, a person who usually deals with wine, but the person at the specific one, the sommelier, is a person that deals with guns. So, when John says like, I need something robust, and he's like, oh, you might like this gun. Or he's like, I need something, big and bold to close out the night. And then he's like, hands him like he's like, oh, here's a Grenelli shotgun, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, this is so cool. And then he gets like these tailor-made suits with like the special kind of Kevlar or carbon fiber weave into it, all this stuff. It's just an interesting world. And I like being in that world. I like that the action is appreciated and that people know what they're doing. So John Wick Chapter 2 or John Wick 2 or whatever, check it out. I'd say it's as good, if not better, than the first one, but it does the same thing as Pirates did, where it leads, like, it's saying, like, yep, there's going to be a third one. It's like the first one could be its own thing, but now 2 and then presumably 3 are going to be interconnected because they leave it wide open and kind of make it pretty stressful at the end of this movie. Like, oh, what the heck is he going to do now? Yeah, dang, it's a good film. But besides that, I've been playing some Heroes of the Storm, which has been really great. It's been fun playing with my buddies, and Joe and I have been playing Overwatch. Always playing Overwatch, and I think that just about does it as far as games go. Oh, play a little Dragon Quest Builders last week. Maybe play some more again soon. But anyway, Joe, what have you been killing time with, pal?
For me, pal, basically Overwatch. Finally got the game capture working.
Yeah, yes, so good.
Last night did my first stream with you along my side.
People liked it.
It was.
They love your face.
It was good. We had everything working. That's all I care about. The gameplay wasn't all shoddy and framey. It was well, or it worked well. I'm excited to try it out in the future. You know, me probably mainly on the weekends. I know don't really reach a lot of people on weeknights. I'm not available afternoons. So, but yeah, I'm gonna get into it now. I gotta, since I got working. So I'm excited about that. Otherwise, yeah, killing time with Bloodlines like you. I don't know that there's anything else on the list, really. I just kind of had a chill weekend this past weekend. Didn't do too much.
Fair enough.
In the past 5 minutes, I've killed some time looking for a Xenomorph costume, which I can't find like a legitimate one. Like I did find one for $850, but it's really odd looking. However, I did find this. I found the Queen Alien life-size 1-to-1 scale crop statue. Rare. It's one of only 5 ever made in the 1990s. So it's one of 5, and it's full size. So basically, this is as tall as, I want to say that's probably like almost 20 feet.
How much does it cost, Joe?
$75,000.
Oh my goodness.
333 people are watching this item.
Yeah. Joe, that reminds me. I do want to go back and watch not Alien. We watched Alien a while ago. I want to watch Aliens with you.
Okay, yeah, I'd be down for it.
I would love to do a commentary on that one because I want to talk my way through that film because I know a lot of people love it. It's different than the first one because it's more kind of action focused. But seeing the Xenomorphs and especially the Queen, which I think is one of the coolest aspects of the whole process because she is essential to the Xenomorph, is such a cool character. And I know how that all plays out. I know how it ends, but I still want to see that film again. So maybe we could sit down one night.
It is really interesting. As I look at this life-size statue of it, there's the design of it is so interesting. And here I am just killing more time. I apologize. But the head is fairly large, and we all know that from the films. Its legs are, I hate to say it, but they're very disproportionate to the upper body where it's got 4 arms and it's got all these spikes on its back and it's got the big crested head. It's just a little disproportionate. I feel like the legs need to have a little bit more weight to them in order to keep its balance.
They're strong legs, Joe. They're strong.
That's fine. It's almost exoskeleton style, but its feet are like high heels. If you look at it, it's got like a really big like dew claw that comes down, and then you're seeing it.
Oh, so I've seen it. It's Alien versus Predator when it's chasing at the end. It's like, wow, that thing can move. Like,
yeah, this prop really like brings it to life though, and you were like, I wonder if the legs should just be a little like beefier or more surface area to stand on. Like, how does it balance? But no, it's very cool. Like for a cool 75 G's, if I had the money to just blow, I would totally have this in my garage.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, she's a cool character. That's just a cool design, even just taking the Xenomorph and kind of morphing it into something bigger and crazier to say like, yep, this is the one that breeds them all or whatever, like makes them. You're like, whoa.
So this is interesting. I'm sorry, rabbit hole. Let's see. There were only 5 made in the early 90s, made by Distortion. This was a licensed product by Fox. James Cameron saw the final product and was furious because they molded the face and head into one mold and therefore look inaccurate. So Cameron made them fix the mold, and they only made one proper one. Most of these statues are gone or beyond repair. You might see some people with just the heads left. That's unfortunate. It's 16 feet tall.
Where are you going to put this thing, though, Joe? Like, if you had
the head alone is 8 feet long. It would be in my garage.
It would be your garage. That would be your garage. Like, what are you parking in there, man? Like a Mini Cooper or something?
Like, it would be such a shame if people like the other 4, like only the heads are left. That's despicable because this thing is awesome. So awesome. We're gonna put a link in the description below.
Yeah, we are definitely gonna do that. All right. Anyway, we're moving on. We're moving on to community feedback and questions. So I asked the Legionnaires to give us a review. We got a good one here from Night Warrior 29. And Night Warrior, forgive me. I'm gonna make a few changes because I think you might have been off with a few of the names, but I'm just gonna take a guess here. He says he sucks way too much, but he's gonna do his best. The plot and flow of the film is confusing at times. And then I'm guessing you mean Henry and Karina. I think shouldn't. Oh no, I'm thinking you're probably talking about Will and Keira Knightley, maybe more so, or I should say Will and Elizabeth shouldn't have returned, in my opinion, because they offer little to the story and their characters leave much to be desired. Depp's his goofy, awkward self, and the good old Captain Barbossa is stealing justifiably everyone's glory with his acting and reacting. And then he talks more about Orlando Bloom because he's trying to process what happened after those last installments. But summing up, he says it's a good film to kill some time, but nothing more. 6 out of 10. So, very good. So the questions we have this week, Joe, first one's up from Anna. She says, #critical podcast. I just finished watching the Pirates review. What would you say is the best Pirates movie in the series? I think we both said, Curse of the Black Pearl. That's the one we both kind of gravitate towards. Just so good.
OG, baby.
Yeah, it's just so very straightforward. And I love it so much. It's just a good film. Anyway, it's still a long film, Joe. It's still like 2.5 hours or so. Anyway, next question comes in from our one and only Yoran Evers. It says, Echo Critical, what's the worst, most frustrating crash in a game you've ever experienced? #critical podcast, #late question. More in recent memory, Yoran, I was playing Darksiders 2 and I was doing this kind of like end game stuff. And it's like my Xbox couldn't keep up because I'm fighting all these guys at the same time and I'm doing all right. And like my health, it's not like I'm dying. But then it would just freeze and crash. And I was like, it just like, if you ever have a crash or like in Overwatch, when I get kicked from a game, just get disconnected. We're about to win or about to lose and I'm trying to do stuff, it just kicks me out. It's like, so not exactly a crash for the disconnects, but that same feeling of someone just like punching my heart. So, Joe, any crashes you can think of that have happened to you lately?
Crashes for me.
Or in any game ever? Like back to your Area 51 days, did you have a crash where you're like, no, my progress?
Do you think I should put a bid in on this Alien?
I wouldn't. Like, for how much? Like $75?
I'll get it for 76,000, huh?
Oh, Joe, don't do it.
Or I'll just make an offer. No one's made an offer yet. I'll offer like $250. The guy's like, I'm sick of having this post up. Take it. I'll be like, yes. All right, Alien fanboy moment done. Crashes in video games that have just like sucker punched me right in the heart. Jimmy, I know there's had to have been some where we'll be just slaying in a match of some sort, whether it's Overwatch.
Maybe more thinking like a single player game. Have you ever been playing like a Forza thing or any other game where it just like freezes and you're just like, or it just dies and it's like, well, like goes back to the Xbox menu screen. You're like, what happened?
No, not really. I may have had it on multiplayer modes before, like on Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah.
Maybe once or twice on. I know I've had it happen once on Ghost Recon, um, but nothing else that's memorable or horrible experience-wise. I know sometimes it's horrible for me when I'm in the midst of a really good Overwatch match, and all of a sudden Jimmy's like, "I got kicked."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Shit."
I get angry. I'm sad. I'm like, if this
Yeah,
happens
well,
again tonight, I'm out. I don't
and
know what
I
it
get
is.
sad too because that's a statement that comes out of his mouth, and then I know we're done for the night.
I usually come back, but then if it happens like twice, I'm like, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah.
Well, we have one last question here, Joe. Again from Night Warrior 29. He asks us, actors asking for more money to continue working on a film they already signed up for. Do you find it acceptable or egotistical?
I think it's acceptable depending on the situation or the premise. If it's a situation where it's got to be earned, like if that movie is making a crap ton of green because of this actor and his character portrayal, that's the main draw, putting butts in the seats, and they know that the sequel is going to do just as well, if not better, then maybe it's justified. But just because it's a franchise that's well known and is going to do really well doesn't justify that actor getting paid more.
Yeah.
Unless there's more work involved or more marketing involved by that actor. If those things come into play, then it's justified. But I don't want it to be just because, I did 2 of these movies, or Johnny Depp, I did the first 2 Pirates. The third one, give me a big bump.
Yeah. That's
yeah. In the right situation, it's appropriate.
Sure. Yeah, I'm thinking about like if I were to say like I signed on for a movie and I already agreed to like getting paid, and I was like, oh wait, but I think I deserve more money. I guess it's weird, for Robert Downey Jr. for instance, he's been signing deals more recently that say I'm taking a cut of the profits, which seems to be an interesting move, and you can make a lot more money that way. And I wonder if if you're a big enough celebrity, if that works because it's going to go well. Because if it doesn't go well, then you might not make a lot of money at all. Obviously this is a relative term because we're talking millions of dollars here. But yeah, I think it is a case-by-case basis. It can be acceptable, but I'm sure there have been times where there's been an actor who says like, wait a second, I deserve more money than this. So case-by-case basis, I'd say. But who knows? It depends. But Joe makes a good point. If they are the main draw, if it is a Johnny Depp or it is a Robert Downey Jr. or whatever else, and they're the reason people are coming to see this, then I understand why they're asking. They would ask for more or say like, hey, maybe I deserve a little bit more for this. Something that the voice actors have started asking for as well because of the success that video games have been having, and they're not seeing returns on it. It's like Nolan North, being the voice of Nathan Drake, being this kind of prolific character for Sony. It's like you almost think he deserves a lot of praise, and more money because he is this character that is a foundation, and the success of those games, he should get something for that. Maybe he does now. I don't know. So a lot of interesting money issues you have with that kind of business. But yeah. Well, Joe, believe it or not, that does it for this week's show. If you have any questions or topics you want us to cover, or any little games Joe and I can play here on the podcast, all you have to do is tweet the hashtag Critical Podcast to either of us at any time, whenever you think of these questions, whenever you want. But I am at Go Critical. That's just the account for everything. Or you can find me at my personal one, which is at Jimmy or 013 or Jimmy Good 013. There you go. These are both on Twitter. And then you can find Joe at
Lever_627. Lever just like beaver, only with an L.
Yes, and like Joe was alluding to earlier, we are both streaming on Twitch on a weekly basis, even more so than that. So if you ever want to stop by...
Critical Reviews channel.
Yes, sir. The Critical Reviews. Go check that out. There should be links down in the description down below. So if you want to stop by anytime, we would love to have you there.
Jimmy, is it safe to say that Jimmy Good channel is no longer? Are you ever going to use that again? Or
maybe. I think it's it's nice to have there if we need it, if we want to do like dual streams, if I really wanted to go back and do that, or for whatever reason. But
so
yeah,
on special occasions, likely dual streams, probably, huh? Because I can see us doing some of those in the future.
Yeah, it just takes a while for me to set up, so that's why I was kind of like, plus, I like it when if you're to stream and I'm not streaming, that's totally fine. We can still play games. They can still hear my voice. But
it works out nicely too, because then there's 2 of us to interact and monitor chat and that sort of stuff. So
and plus, I don't like splitting up the group. I don't want them to be like, it would be nice if everyone had 2 monitors and everyone could just like open 2 Twitch things at the same time and have it both running and be like, oh, this is Joe's perspective and Jimmy's perspective. But so that's typically what we're gonna do. But anyway, yeah, so you can come see. If it's not me, it's Joe. And if you go to that Jimmy_good, then it'll probably just refer you back to Critical Reviews. I want to thank a few people. I want to thank This Is Daleb for amazing theme music, and obviously the one and only Your Nevers for all of our great art that you see here on the channel. And if you want some of that great art yourself and you want to help support us at the same time, all you have to do is go check out patreon.com/criticalreviews. And if you donate even $1 a month, you get some specialty art from Yorin. You get your beautiful face on this avatar, these cool avatars that are just really, really cool. I really like them, amongst other rewards. So if you really want to help support the show out, support Joe and myself and everything we do here, because that is what we're getting at. We're trying to get to this, so it's full-time work, at least for me, if not, part-time work for Joe and Thomas. But that's what we're trying to get to. So if you are at all interested in supporting us, please consider it. Go over there, check it out, and let us know some feedback. If you guys want to know anything, want to see anything, cover anything, please let us know, because that's why we're here. We're here to entertain you, inform you, do all that stuff. Make sure you don't go spend $15 on a movie you don't want to see, or a game that you might be like, I don't know if I should play this. You can see it streamed live, all that stuff. So, yeah, I want to thank all the people, all our Legionnaires who are supporting us, all of our Patreon or patrons who are supporting us on Patreon already, and to anybody else who's joining us for the first time, thank you so much. Please stop by again, and yeah, until next week, which we'll be talking at least Wonder Woman this week, and then Mummy the week after. It's so many movies. So many movies.
Oh, busy.
Yep, reviews for both those. They will come. Anyway, thank you so much, and remember to adapt and overcome. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.